Hello everyone. In this video, we will learn structured query language. So in short, it is called SQL. It can be called SQL or SQL. It is a standard language for storing, manipulating and retrieving data in databases. So it is used to communicate with a database, and it is basically a standard language for relational database management system. So SQL statements are generally used to perform various operations on database like retrieval, insertion, updation and deletion of data. So it is used in various advanced relational database management systems. In short, it is relational database management system. In short, it is called RDMS. So it is a standard language for relational database system like MySQL, then MS Access, Oracle, Sybase, Informix, Progress and SQL Server use SQL as their standard database language. So what can SQL do? So it can execute queries against a database. So if we have a database, we can give by means of SQL, we can just execute the query. So we can retrieve the data. We can insert records into the database, or we can update records in a database. Also, we can delete records from a database. We can create new databases. We can create new tables in a database. We can create stored procedures in a database. Also, we can create views in a database. Also, SQL can set permissions on tables, procedures and views. So this is the basic architecture of SQL. We can see that when we give a query here, this is the SQL query here in the physical database here. This is the place where we store the data. So here, once a query is done, this the system will detect the optimize the way in which the query can be processed. So we have a query language processor and a DBMS engine. Now before going on to in detail about the SQL programming, you need to know the various data types which is being used in SQL. So what is the purpose of data types? Data types are used to represent the nature of data that can be stored in the database table. As I already said that basically this SQL is used in DBMS relational database management system. So here relational database management system, relational database means it is in the form of tables. As you know, it must be having it will be having rows and columns. So data types we can classify into string data types, numeric data types, date and time data types. So coming on to the string data type, what all type of data, how we can define the data? We can use CHR, that is char. It can take maximum length of 8,000 characters. It is the char data type is basically fixed length non-Unicode characters, and varchar is like it is a variable length non-Unicode data. We can use varchar max also, variable length non-Unicode data. So this one is available in SQL Server 2005 only, and text we can use it as a variable length non-Unicode data with a maximum length of this many characters. And we have Unicode character string data types also. In that here in the string data type we have char, varchar and all. In Unicode only differences will be adding a small letter n before that. So n char, this is for fixed length Unicode, and n varchar is for variable length Unicode, and this n varchar max is for the maximum length, and n text is for the variable length Unicode. Now we have also numeric data types in which we can define bit, that is for integer, which can be 0, 1 or null, and we can use tiny int. It allows the whole numbers from 0 to 255. Then we have another data type called small int. It allows whole numbers between minus 32,768 to plus 32,767. Then we have int. It allows whole numbers. Then we have big int. Then we have float n. Then we have real. Then we have money. Money is actually useful to specify monetary data. Then we have binary data types. Binary data types maximum we can use directly binary. Binary, it is basically fixed length binary data. Then we have var binary. This is variable length binary data. Then var binary maximum, that is for maximum variable length binary data. Then another data type we have image, that is also variable length binary data. Then we have another data type, it is date and time data types. So we can directly use this date. The format for that one is generally this year and then month and date. Then date time format is like we'll be giving the date, that is in year format, then month, date, day, and then hour, minute and second. Then timestamp format also it's in a similar way, year, month, then day, and then hour, minutes and seconds. Then year format is usually of this one we can enter the 4 digits, or we can make the last 2 digits for the year format. Then there are some miscellaneous data types also, which is SQL variant and various, that is for various SQL server supported data types except text, end text and timestamp. Then we have timestamp that I already mentioned. Then we have unique identifier, it stores a globally unique identifier. Then we have XML that stores XML data. Then we have cursor, that is reference to a cursor object. Then table stores a result set for later processing. Then these are the domain types we usually see in SQL, that the common domain types is the character, char n, that is we can define this a fixed length character string where we can define the length. This is user specified length n. Then var char n, it is a variable length character string, this with the user specified maximum length as n. Then we have int. Int is for defining integer data type, so it's a finite subset of integers that is machine dependent. Then we have another one, small int, that is a small integer, that is a subset of integer domain type. Then we have another one which is numeric. It is format is like this, numeric p comma d. So where p represents the number of digits of that particular number and d represents the number of digits to the right of a decimal point. For example, if you have a numeric, if you are writing numeric 3 comma 1, that indicates that the total digits is 3 and 1 means 1 digit out of this total 3 digit, 1 digit is to the right side of the decimal point. So we can write like 44.5, that means we have 3 digits here, 445, but the last digit is 1 digit is on to the right side of that decimal point. So this is like how we can define numeric p comma d. Then we have real double precision also, it is for floating point and double precision floating point numbers. Then another one is float n. So here we can give the user specified precision of at least n digits. Then coming on to SQL commands, you know this the standard SQL commands to interact with the relational database are create, select, insert, update, delete and drop. So basically these commands we can classify into various groups like DML, DDL, DCL, TCL. DDL stands for data definition language, DML stands for data manipulation language, DCL stands for data control language and TCL stands for transaction control language. What is meant by this DDL? So this SQL commands, as I said, we can classify as DDL, DML, DCL and TCL. So under DDL all these commands will come like create, alter, drop, rename, truncate, comment. All these commands belongs to the DDL statements. Now we have for DML, that is data manipulation language statements, we have select, insert, update, delete, merge, call, explain, plan, then lock table. And we have under DCL grant and revoke, and under TCL we have commit, rollback, save point, set transaction. So those are the various commands which is SQL commands. So we will see what is meant by this DDL. DDL is data definition language. It is basically used to define the basic structure of the database. So these statements define the implementation details of the database schema, which are usually hidden from the users. Actually, you know, DDL changes the structure of the table, like we will be creating the table or deleting the table or altering a table, etc. comes under this DDL statement. So one thing we should remember is that the commands of this DDL, that is the data definition language commands, are auto committed. That means it is permanently saved. The changes what we make is permanently saved in the database. Now DDL commands, as I said, we have create command, then alter command, then drop, then rename and truncate. What is the purpose of this create? Create command in DDL is to create a new table. Table, as you know, that it is used in relational database system. So relational database in the form of table. Tables are called relations. So create creates a new table or a view of a table or other objects in the database. Then comes the command alter. Alter modifies an existing database object such as a table. So once you create the table, if you want to modify that, we can use the alter command. Then another one is drop command. Drop command deletes the entire table, the view of the table or other objects in the database. So if you want to delete the complete table from the database, we can use drop table command. Then we have rename. That is for renaming the tables. Then we have another DDL command, that is a truncate. So basically a truncate is used to delete all the rows from the table and free the space containing the table. Drop is to delete the entire table, whereas truncate is to delete all the rows from the table. Now when we talk about the DDL command create, as I said, create is used to create a new table in the database. So the syntax for creating a new table in the database is you have to use the keyword create table. So create table will create a table with, we have to define the table name. So what table name we have to we are going to create, that table name we have to put here. So create table name. Then in the table, how many columns are there and what are the names of the columns or attributes, we can say, the fields. So this we can define the column name and the data types for that particular column name. So create table name, and we can define the columns like this. For example, suppose we want to create a table name employee. So what we do is we can give the command create table employee, because employee is the name of the table we are creating. So create table employee, and in brackets we can write here, this is the first column name. I want the first column to be name, and what is the data type of the first column, that we have to give here. So name, it is varchar, and the limit we can give, it is 20 we had given. So this can be any number, you can give it as 50, 100, whatever it is according to your requirement. So name, then varchar. Then next one is the second column, I want it to be email. So second column name I am giving as email, and the data type I am giving here. Then the third column I am just defining it as the date of birth, and I want the data type to be date. So this is how we create a table. So when you give this command, what it does is it will be creating a table with name, employee, and the column names name, email and date of birth with the various data types which we have defined. So now let us create another table, create table department. So here this one will create a table named department, and here inside bracket we are giving the column name. So department name, and I'm just giving it as character 20. Then building also data type as char. Then budget I'm just giving it as, defining it as numeric. So this is how we can create table using the DDL command create. So this execution of this command, the statement creates 3 columns, as I said, department name, building and budget. So it will be having, each column will be having a user specified data type. Now coming on to the second DDL command, we have alter. So alter is basically used to alter the structure of the database. So this can be either to modify the characteristics of an existing attribute, or probably we can add a new attribute into the table. Attribute means we will be representing as the column heading. Okay. So if you want to add a new column into an existing table, so we already have a table and we want to add a new column into the existing table, what we can do is we can use the command alter table. So alter table, then table name. So we can use use alter table, then whatever name, so which table we are going to alter, so that one we can put it here, that table name we can put it here. Then we want to add a column to the existing table, so what we do is we are using add column name. So we can put add which column name we want to put, that column name we can enter here, and the column definition means you can enter the data type. So suppose we want to modify an existing column in the table. So the first command is for adding a new column. Suppose I want to modify an existing column in the table. So what I do is I can give the command alter table, table name, that is which table we are going to modify, that table name should come here. Then we can use modify, then which column name we are going to modify, the column name and then column definition. So for example, then alter table, even we can use this one. Another one is, see, this is for modifying a single column. Suppose we want to modify multiple columns. In that case, what we can do is the same command we can give like this, alter table, which table we want to modify, that table name we can give here, then modify, then which all columns we are going to modify, those column names should be put it inside the bracket. So suppose I want to put this column name 1, this column name 1 I'm just modifying, then modify this one, then I'm putting the column definition, what modifications we are giving, that one we can give here, then column name 2, then column definition, etc. So this is how we can alter the table, we can add new column into the table, and we can modify the existing column. So for example, I can give alter table, I'm modifying the table student details. I'm just going to add a new column, add address. So address is a new column which is being added into the table student details, and the data type is varchar. With a user defined limit 20. Then another example is alter table student details. The same thing, I'm modifying the name. So modify name, I'm just modifying this data type. So varchar. So this is how we can just use alter command. It is used to alter the structure of the database. Next DDL command is drop. It is basically, as I said, it is used to delete both the structure and record stored in the table. So we can completely delete the table from the database. So syntax is like, we can use this keyword drop, then table name, drop table, table name. We can just delete the table by giving the syntax drop table, table name. Which table we want to delete, that table name you should give here. So example, drop table employee. So this command will delete a table named employee from the database. Another DDL command is rename. So this one is used to change the name of the table. So syntax is rename old table name to new table name. So if you want to change the table name, what we can do is we can use the command rename. So old table name we can put it here, to new table name we can define here. So this is how we can rename a table. Another command, DDL command, is truncate. So truncate is basically used to delete all the rows from the table and free the space containing the table. So the syntax for truncate is we can give truncate, then which table we are going to delete all the rows. So truncate that truncate table name. So for example, truncate table employee. So if I give like this, truncate table employee, this command will delete all the rows from the table employee and free the space containing the table. Now coming on to DML, that is data manipulation language. This DML statements are basically used for managing data within the schema object. So data manipulation language commands are used to modify the database. So what all changes happens in the database, that is due to this DML commands. So the command of DML is not auto committed, whereas DDL is auto committed. So that means that the DML can't permanently save all the changes in the database. They can be rolled back. So since it is not auto committed, we can roll back some of the commands. Then we can have a DML of two types. One is procedural DML, another one is declarative DMLs. So in procedural DMLs, user needs to specify what data are needed and how to get those data. So user is specifying the procedure of how to get the data, even which data is needed and how to get that data is given by specified by the user in procedural DML. In declarative DML, it is otherwise called as non-procedural DML. It requires the user to specify what data are needed but without specifying how to get those data. Means in the procedural means in that the user has to specify how to get the data. In declarative DMLs, it won't be specifying how to get the data. So basically this declaratively DMLs are usually easier to learn and use than procedural DML, but since a user does not have to specify how to get the data, then the database system has to figure out an efficient means of accessing the data. So the various DML commands are select, insert, update, delete. Select retrieves certain records from one or more tables, and insert, it creates a record. Record in a table means a row. Insert, record is a row in a relation. Update, it modifies the records. Delete, it deletes the record. Then for this all this DML commands we can use with the combination of certain clauses. That is the following set of commands. When we are using select, then it should use along with this from and where clause, and when we are using insert, we can use into values, then update, set where, delete from where. So these are the basic constraints which allows the programmers and users to enter data and information into the database and retrieve it efficiently using a number of filter operations. In select, first we'll see how we can use the select command. So select is actually the fundamental query in a DML statement. So this one is basically similar to the project operation. So it selects the attributes. So selects the attributes, means it selects the columns based on the condition described by the where clause. Okay, so from it is this clause actually this one it is like the clause corresponding to the, it is similar to Cartesian product, and when the from which table, so we have to define. So suppose we are giving select some columns, and from which table we are going to select, so that we have to define in the from clause. So this clause takes a relation name as an argument from which attributes are to be selected or projected. Then we have where. Where actually gives the conditions or predicate where the condition should match in order to qualify the attributes to be projected or the selected. Now for example, we can consider this one, the select. So select author name is a column name. So author name is column name from the table. From the table book author, so this is the table name, book author is the table name. Where, so this is the condition where we are going to give. So where age is greater than 50. So what is this statement does is it will be selecting the column named author name from the table book author where this condition is satisfied. The condition is age greater than 50. So it will be selecting the author names from the column author name from the table book author where the age whose age is greater than 50. So we will get the names of all authors from the relation book author whose age is greater than 50. So another command in DML is insert. So insert is basically used to insert data into the row of a table. So insert statement is, the syntax is like this. We will be using insert into table name. Table name is with DDL command we would have created a table, and with DML command we are going to insert values into the rows of that particular table. So insert into table name. So the table we already created by DDL command. So that table name we can give here, and then what are the columns? So suppose the table has 5 columns and we need to insert only data into 3 columns, then we can mention that 3 column names here and insert the values. Otherwise, no, if you want to insert values to all the columns present in the table, then you need not define like this columns. You can skip this step. Means this whatever is inside this bracket, we can skip it. So then what we can do is insert into table name which all columns we are going to insert the values. Then we have to put values. So insert into and values are the keywords. Then we will be putting values. So which values we are going to insert? Value 1, value 2, value 3, etc. So corresponding to the columns defined here, we have to enter the values here. Or the second one is insert into table name. So here this whatever is inside in this bracket in the first statement, we have not used here because we are going to insert values into all the columns of the table. So in that case we can skip that one and we can directly write like this: insert into, we can put the table name and values, directly enter the values, because we are going to enter values for all the columns, so we need not mention the column specifically here. So for example, we can insert, for example, I'm going to insert the values, the data into a table named book. So insert into book is the table name, and I'm going to insert the first column as author and second column as a subject, and the values which I am going to insert is author name as Gupta and subject as DBMS. So when we are entering this character, this one, this we have to put it in basic the string operators. So now we have for the DML commands update. So update is used to update or modify the values of a column in the table. So the syntax for update is, we can use update then table name. So which table we are going to update, that table name we should put it here. So update table name. Then what update we are going to do? Suppose I want to change the value of column name 1. Then what I can do? I can put set. Set is the command used here. So set column name 1 is equal to value 1, column name 2 is equal to value 2. So I can just set some values into the column. So I'm just updating the values in the column. So now I can whatever the existing value, I can update with the new value by using the command update and set along with this. So update table name, set the column names, what new values we want to give, and we can give a where condition also. So depending upon this condition, the table will get updated. For example, suppose we want to update a table called students. So I'm just giving update students. Students is the table name. So now what I am going to do is, there is a column name called username. So I'm just set username is equal to Roy. So I'm just setting that name to be Roy, where student ID is equal to 3. So I am doing this update only at the place where this condition is satisfied. What is the condition? Condition we had given a student ID is equal to 3. So what it does is, it will be checking for the condition, and if the condition is satisfied, that particular row, it will be changing the name as Roy. So this is how update command works. Another command which is the DML commands is delete. So as we know, delete is used to remove one or more row from a table. So here this is based on the condition, we will be deleting the rows. So in DDL we were having truncate. So truncate, what it does is, it was deleting all the rows from the table. But in delete, it will be deleting only those rows where the condition is satisfied. So it is used to remove, we can remove one or more rows from a particular table. The syntax is like this: delete. So this is a keyword, delete from table name. So from which table we are going to delete. So that one we have to give, and where condition. The condition we can give there. So for example, we can, I want to delete a row from this table books where author is equal to Gupta. So what it does is, delete from books where author is equal to Gupta. So it will be searching for the row where author is equal to Gupta, and it will be deleting that particular row from the table books. Another one is the data control language. So it is a syntax similar to a computer programming language, which is used to control access to data stored in the database. And basically this is for giving authorization. So DCL commands are basically used to grant and take back authority from any database user. So the commands which is part of DCL are grant and revoke. Grant is for giving permission, revoke is for removing, taking back that permission. So grant gives privilege to user, revoke take back privilege granted from the user. So this operations which may be granted or revoked from a user apply to both DDL and DML, and also include connect, select, insert, update, delete, execute and usage. But in a Oracle database, executing a DCL command issues an implicit commit, hence we cannot roll back the command in this Oracle database. So DCL commands grant, it is to give a particular user privilege to a database. The syntax is like grant, select or update on my table, that is a table name, to some user or another user. So we can just specify the users here. Revoke is used to whatever permission is granted to the user, we can take back that permission. So we can use revoke, select, update on the table name from user 1, user 2. So which all users we want to take back the permission, we can define here. That is a DCL command. Next comes the transaction control language. So basically this language commands are used to manage transactions in the database. So basically these are used to manage the changes made by DML statements. So we can use this TCL commands only with DML commands like insert, delete and update. So these operations are actually this one can't be used while creating tables or dropping them. That is this TCL commands we can't use with this DDL commands. So some of the commands which comes under TCL are commit, rollback, save point. So what is this TCL command? What is meant by commit? So commit command is used to permanently save any transaction into the database. Means we will be modifying the table, and if you want to permanently save it, we can save it by means of commit command. Rollback, actually this command restores the database to the last committed state. So once it is committed, we won't be able to roll back, but rollback means it will be restores the database to the last committed state. So also we can use another command called as save point to jump to a save point in a transaction. So basically the save point is used to temporarily save a transaction so that you can roll back to that particular point whenever necessary. So we can define this save point in a transaction, and what we can do is we can roll back to that particular save point, so that we can whatever modifications has been done, we can roll back to the previous state. If we define the save point in intermediate points, we can roll back. So commit is command is used to save all the transactions to the database. The syntax for commit is we can just suppose syntax is just we can put the command commit. So if you give the command commit, means it is permanently saving the transactions to the database. So an example is like, suppose I am deleting from customers where age is equal to 25. So what does it mean? It will be deleting the row from the customer table where age is equal to 25. So we have just given like this, and I just gave commit. After this statement, if we give commit, means that change is permanently saved into the database. Now, if we roll back, a command is used to undo the transaction that have not been already saved into the database. So the syntax is roll back. Example is like delete from customers where age is equal to 25. So what we have done is in this table customers, we have deleted the rows where age is equal to 25. So now when we give a rollback command after this, whatever deletion happened, it will be rolled back before deletion. Whatever the status of the table was before deletion, it will be going back to that one. So that is the purpose of this rollback. Whatever it can be, rollback is used to undo changes. So another one is save point. This one, as I said, it is used to roll the transaction back to a certain point without rolling back the entire transaction. Sometimes we need not roll back to the entire transaction. Then we can roll back to intermediate point by defining save point. So we can, the syntax is like the save point name. So when you are entering the statement, SQL statement, we can just define like save point, some save point name. Then when we want to roll back, we can just give roll back to that particular save point name. Then it will be rolling back only to the up to that particular point. So that is the purpose of this TCL commands. So with this I have covered, I just gave a brief introduction about the SQL, covering the various basic statements used in SQL, DDL, DML, DCL and TCL commands. So I hope this is you understood the basics of this SQL query language. So the basic SQL operators, joins, and the syntax of writing a program, all those things I will be covering in the next video. Please subscribe to this my channel for getting new updates about the upcoming videos. Hope you like the video. If you have understood and like the video, please share and subscribe. Thank you. Thanks for watching.